Hello guys, so welcome back to another exciting tutorial that I was planning to show you guys. I had made it, but I had some problems and due to which I wasn't able to upload it. So here is how it's going to be. We are going to use Element 3D. Like you can see, the scene I have set up, composition and the video duration. Set it up. Now you got to rename the layer, the Element 3D file that we are using right now. The plugin you can get from the internet or you can buy it. Now let's set up the scene. Okay, now I got these two things that I had downloaded 3D website. You can download whatever you want to from 3D website. It's free. I didn't pay for it, but I will be using these as an object in my video. Now this is basically a video that I was by surprisingly I just thought that I should make it, so this is how I had made it. Now just set this up. You can download anything if you want to from the 3D website, free 3D stuff or anything, or you can also use the Element 3D stuff, that the plugins that are available, the building and there are many things that Element 3D offer, but right now I'm just going to use this. I'm just going to set this up. While I was making this, I had some problems because my Element 3D was crashing again and again. Sometimes it happens, but I came up with this. So okay, I'm just duplicating the trees. It all depends on how you want your environment to be, how many copies of your tree you want to, or you want to create a jungle or a forest or whatever you want to. Just make sure that you make your mind before doing this. Create a scenario that you want to. Now I have taken the plane and I have used this, and I'm going to resize. I think I should. Let's play with the scale. You're gonna also set your camera angle, on which camera angle you want your scene to be. Make sure you remove the unused materials that you have in this material box. So let's set this plane. Now you can see these textures there, but we are going to use it later. These are the plant textures that I had cropped from the images from the Google. These are the textures. So I'll leave it now. Sometimes I have trouble choosing the texture from the folder because they are similar. Normal map and the texture color, they mix up sometimes, but okay, so I cannot find it. Okay, these are two. These are the textures for the plane. For the ground that I need, the ground basically it's on the grass or sand or something. Another thing is that textures are high resolution and I need to make them a bit lower because the higher texture, the high resolution texture, when you use it, you have trouble working with that because it needs a much powerful system and your After Effects much will crash. So you better should see the file size before using your textures. The textures were from the TIFF file, so I had to convert it down into JPEGs. You can upload this from here. You can also play with the UV. UV is basically the surface of the texture that replicates your textures and how many replication you want your texture to be, how much it should look perfectly and play stable. Now this the normal texture helps you to give your texture a strongness, a realistic. So we have set our scene. Okay, so another thing is you have to create a camera and choose 28 millimeter. If you want to get it lower or upper, you can, whatever you want to. Now if you don't know about this, you should know, because there are certain things that you should know before doing this. You should know the millimeters camera, about the camera, about the 3D stuff, about how you use, about the textures. Right now I'm just going to create a simple scene from my imagination. I'm going to take the textures from Google Images, and I'm just going to create a random scene, so nothing is fixed or nothing is proper. But I think my scene is still empty and I need to, let's expand this, and this will continue again and again. You have to go in the scene and you have to change the position of your objects that you are using and duplicate whatever stuff you want to create an environment. Once you have the environment in your scene or in your video, you can use video, a chroma shot, a green screen footage, or a green screen person walking in green screen footage, or anything if you want to do that. So it helps, because this how sometimes the scenes are created. The movies are created. They create a scene, a simple scene, and they do the light corrections, and they show you that extraordinary thing. But behind that, things are very, very complicated and manipulated. Like you can see this here, that what I'm doing right now. I'm just going to set the scenes. I'm going to duplicate the trees and I'm setting the scenes. What I have achieved right now is everything is available on the internet. You just have to find it. Now I'm going to create a light, because I need to make a light, and I need to create an environment, because right now you are not liking it, right? So the difficulty that you have, that I have mostly is that to play with the camera movement is not easy, because when you are panning, or when you are tilting your camera, or when you are zooming in it, you have trouble. So it is a bit patience work. You cannot do it in rush, or you cannot chaos. Now you can see this website on your screen. The 3D objects that I had downloaded from here are from Free 3D. Now let's just take a background, forest background, because I want the background to be at the back side of the video. So let's see what we find. Make sure you find a high resolution background, because when you zoom in your video, your background does not pixelate, because if it pixelates, it won't look good. It won't look professional or crisp or a good work. So make sure you download a high resolution before using it. Now I got this too, but I think I'm going to use only one. Let's see if I found another good one. This is a lengthy process, because you have to find a perfect background that suits your video or your scene. Sometimes people use multiple backgrounds, but right now I'm not going to use them. I'm just going to use one. Okay, I'm just going to set this. I just created the layer into 3D. Okay, so let me tell you, when I was making this, I had several issues with the Element 3D file, because when I was panning and I'm playing with my camera, the Element 3D file and the images were not syncing with the camera perfectly, because when I was zooming it, the Element 3D file was the way I wanted it to be, but the images that I had put separately and I had made them 3D, I had converted them into 3D, they were not sync to the camera perfectly, because I had junks, the images were not clearly rotating, or it was not properly, what you can say is, were not moving clearly. So just these are the several times that you have set your scene and you have to place the tree back or forward or right, left to right. It all depends on what you want to make it. But right now I'm just going to set this however I think I should. Okay, another thing is that when you are working with this, you should create color correction, or you should create a good colors, you know. So these are the leaf and the images that I cropped from the picture. You can crop it in Photoshop. I'm just going to use them, and I'm going to create a 2.5D that I had did before. But right now I'm just going to do this. I'm going to set this leaves in side to side, or whichever angle it suits, because I think I should make it like the camera is zooming into the footage to the house that you can see, and till the tower, the backside in the forest that you can see the tower. there are many options that you can work on it. So these are right now I have gone into two views. One is that you can see on the screen is the top one, and one is the front. If you are new to this, you don't know how to make it. You just play with the settings. Okay, so it takes a lot of time in this. You have to set the objects, you have to set the leaves and the direction. You also have to look from the top side, because when you play with your when you play with your camera, you might bump into the picture or the thing you are using right now. So I'm just going to set this one. Now clearly you can see that your camera is on which side, and you can set your objects in that face. But do remember, when you're placing your objects, your camera will bypass this. Your camera will, if you are zooming into your house, leaves will also zoom out. Okay, so this one is another one that I'm going to use it right now. Just set your layers into 3D, convert them before playing with the camera. On this, the another thing is that this one light is not enough. So let's see when we are done with the setting of these leaves. If we need a light, we will just place this. Oh, sorry. Sometimes you have trouble doing this stuff. Playing with this and making 2.5D is not sometimes a good work, because you might overlap your objects, which you don't want to do it. Okay, so let's take this make this bigger, move it a bit, right? Okay guys, so don't if you are watching this, don't forget to subscribe my channel, like the video if you think, but please like the video. If you think it's good, do like the video and share the video. Click on the thumb. Okay, so I think I have cropped 5 leaves or 5 or 4 leaves that I have used in this. Now you can use how many if you want to. It all depends on the scene that you want to create. Okay, so I think that's enough. Let's go back. I'm just going to create an adjustment layer, because I have to color correction. Until you do it, your whole scene doesn't look good. Guys, I have some color presets that I had downloaded. There were LUTs that I had earlier that I was working on my thesis, my final thesis that I had downloaded. So I think I should use them. But whenever you are using LUTs, you cannot only use the LUTs. You have to do the color correction with them, because they are, when you use them, they are much saturated or strong, which makes your video a bit oversaturated or not so good. So you have to play with the settings, and you have to lower the saturation or color balance, whatever you think looks good in a cinematic way. So this is the major part that you have to work on. Color correction is necessity in everything, in every video, in every photographs, or any other work that you are doing, because without that it doesn't look good. Now you also want to play with the curves later on, and right now I think the one light is not enough. Set your light, play with these four, because you have to see that what looks good or what doesn't look good. Some of the basic things that After Effects user doesn't even think about or doesn't even know about how to use them. So the general problem that I had seen is that people do many mistakes. Whatever I'm using right now or I'm doing right now, I have learned from my experience, and I have learned because sometimes you do oversaturated, or sometimes your white balance is out, or sometimes a single color you create a saturated thing. Okay, so I think we are done with the curves. Now vibrance basically it's to create the play with the colors. If you know that how forest looks, you have to make sure you do, because when you are doing the color correction, you should know all the things, that how forests and leaves and lights and everything, and source of light, where is your source of light is coming from. You should also know that, because when you are doing color correction, it's very important. Okay, so it's great. A new solid. Okay. Sorry, again, I want it black, but I do it in white. So I'm going to create a vignette, and I'm going to take this shape and round and mask it. I'm going to subtract this. Okay, and I'm going to feather it. Do whatever suits your footage, edit the way you want to do it, blend that if you want to. I'm just going to play with the opacity of the mask. I'm not going to show you the render or do the rendering thing, because I think I should further play with this video. So I'm just going to show, I just want to show you guys the simple idea of this, that how I was making this. So I wanted to share this simple thing that I was using it, making it using Element 3D of Video Copilot.net. So there are a lot of things that you can do in color correction. Things you use exposure, equalizer, curves, color balance, and many other things. Lots are available on the internet. You can use them. Top. No, I don't want to do this. Okay, so let's take a to view. Now you can see that's how does it looks from the top and from the front view. Bring this front, back. You can play with the rotations if you want to, but let's see if it suits here. Okay, it is looking good. Play with the settings. Just play with the settings, and you'll make something good out of it. I'm sure that you will, but it all depends that how much you are committed to it, or you want to make something. So guys, I was thinking to make this, let's create a rain. Now I'm not going to create a rain, I'm just going to use the plugin in the After Effects that is built in, and I'm just going to play with the settings in this. Play with the wind, play with the speed, play with the size, drops, the amount of drop you want, and color if you want to change the color. It all depends on how you want the things to be. Maybe you can use a composite light or the rain light. You can blur the rain if you want to. Now that's all for this